Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to do something a little bit, well, unexpected. We are taking a totally simple, seemingly innocent nursery rhyme, one you have probably heard 1,000 times, and we're going to treat it with mock serious academic scrutiny. Why? Because beneath the bright colors and those ridiculously catchy tunes, there's actually a highly structured, almost architectural framework. We're going to deconstruct the rhythm behind finger songs and uncover the hidden mechanics that make them tick. Daddy finger, where are you? You hear that bouncy staccato energy? If you've been anywhere near a toddler in the last decade, you know for a fact that this tune is completely inescapable. It literally embeds itself in your brain. But it doesn't do that by magic. It does it by design. So what actually drives the inescapable rhythm of this song? What makes it stick on an infinite loop in our heads? Well, let's dive right into this, because what we're actually dealing with here isn't just a simple children's song. It is a highly calculated, repetitive mathematical formula designed for maximum retention.
All right, part one, the finger family formula.
When we compare the daddy finger verse with a mommy finger verse side by side, it reveals an exact structural alignment. The only variables changing in this strict architectural rhythm are the specific nouns and adjectives for that character. It brilliantly illustrates the absolute predictability of the song. You see, once the brain understands the structure of that first verse, it can perfectly anticipate the structure of the next one without expending an ounce of new cognitive energy. And notice how this builds across the whole family unit. We've got a rigid step-by-step downward progression. Daddy to mommy to brother to sister, and finally down to baby. This chronological rhythm acts as a vital anchor for early pattern recognition. The listener isn't just learning a song, they're being guided through a highly organized hierarchy. Every single verse is identical in its pacing, which creates this incredibly comforting ladder of repetition that leads exactly where you expect it to go. Moving on to part two, call, response, and rhythm. This brings us to the absolute core engine of the track. Here I am, how do you do? If where are you is the call that creates that rhythmic tension, then this specific response phrase is the anchor of the song's loop. It gives the listener a deeply satisfying auditory release, resolving the tension from just seconds earlier, and it does so with totally perfect rhythmic symmetry. Now, what's really interesting here is how perfectly balanced that resolution is. The song relies on absolute mathematical symmetry. Daddy, mommy, brother, sister, and baby, they each get an identically sized slice of the lyrical pie. No verse is longer, no verse is shorter. The rhythmic real estate is divided with complete, uncompromising equality. Next up, part three, the color association pattern. So, having established this perfectly balanced rhythm, the song suddenly forces new variables into the equation, specifically colors. Family members are mapped to trigger phrases, which then reveal target colors. But if you look closely at the data for the daddy verse, there's a hilarious verbatim phonetic anomaly right there in the transcript. Choose a color, please. Not color, collar. The rigid mapping forces the rhythm forward, but when you look at the raw text, the phonetic edges start to blur in some really entertaining ways. And that rhythmic breakdown becomes even more obvious when we compare the color repetition for the sister verse with the baby verse. For the sister, the text literally shifts from pink into pink, pink, pink. But for the baby verse, it stays rigidly on theme with green, 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 culminating in a massive emphatic green. It's these funny little lyrical shifts, these tiny phonetic breakdowns that really show the strain of maintaining such a relentless rhythmic loop. And if we deconstruct the conclusions of each verse, oh man, it just descends into pure chaotic entertainment. Daddy and mommy end safely with, "That's my favorite too." But then the rhythm shifts. The brother verse concludes with, "That's my favorite tool." The sister verse gives us the completely perplexing, "That's my favorite do-o." And the baby finishes it off with, "That's my favorite jo." These are completely unintended, yet highly entertaining rhythmic shifts. The rigid structure is trying so hard to hold it all together, but the literal phonetics simply breakdance right out of the boundaries. Which leads us to part four, decoding the viral loop. Stepping back to look at the big picture of why understanding this whole framework actually matters, we realize the crucial number here is 5. 5 family members, 5 colors, 5 exact, identical repetitions of the core architectural structure. This relentless pacing, this totally unyielding adherence to the number 5, is exactly what makes this media format such an inescapable tool for cognitive development. Its repetition practically engineered to be consumed, internalized, and then immediately demanded again by a developing mind. So the crucial point we need to take away is that this isn't just a song, it's a structural system. It relies on strict noun and adjective substitution. It leans heavily on a perfectly balanced 5-part structure. It utilizes a deeply predictable call and response to build and release tension. And ultimately, it achieves endless algorithmic looping. This rigid formula is exactly what keeps the young viewer, and let's be honest, millions of completely exhausted parents entirely captive to the rhythm. Which leaves us with one final, pretty big thought to ponder. As we look at the massive global success of these structurally rigid, endlessly looped nursery rhymes, we kind of have to ask ourselves, is the true rhythm of the internet just endless, comforting repetition? We love to think that we're always seeking out novelty, but as the underlying architecture we've uncovered in this explainer shows us, sometimes what really captures our attention is just a familiar formula repeated exactly 5 times. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive. Keep questioning the rhythms around you, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.